I do that with like trying to learn different, just learning different techniques of any kind. Like, might want to learn some form of yoga, or if I want to learn a new way to sew, it's like I use those to kind of stimulate me, but also conversation with other people that helps stimulate me mentally, because then it's almost like you have your own thoughts, your own things that you feel, and then once you open up that space for talking to someone else, it's like there's a point where your your own thoughts get not just questioned, but like it feels like I don't know, two worlds colliding, and you're learning something new, and then all of a sudden, um, maybe a thought that you may have had before will change. Like, I know for me, that's what happens when I'm talking to people. It's like I talk to people and see their point of view or hear their stories, and I'm like, oh, okay. And it'll switch up some things that I may have put on repeat in my mind. And it just, I don't know. I like the way that the act of communicating with others, how that kind of changes you in a way, but not completely, Maybe it reinforces some thoughts and maybe it doesn't, but I don't know.
Research suggests that adults need to keep their minds active, especially as they grow older. In fact, learning a mentally demanding skill can improve cognitive functioning and slow down aging. Neurologists tell us that learning a new skill challenges the physical structures of the brain. By stimulating neurons in the brain, more neural pathways are formed. The more pathways that are formed, the faster impulses can travel. This brain chemistry increases the white matter in your brain. Learning later in life is a way to protect the brain against aging because it promotes neuroplasticity, which is the brain's ability to develop new neural pathways. It helps you to gain a new perspective on the world around you and trains your brain to handle a wide array of challenges. Classes and courses are a great way to do this. They engage cognitive skills, such as visual comprehension, short and long-term memory, attention to detail, and even math and calculations, which goes a long way in improving your brain health. In fact, it could stave off dementia. Knowledge fuels self-confidence. Research has proven that lifelong learning, whether acquiring a skill like bookkeeping or taking up an activity like bird watching or a pastime like pottery, can greatly improve your mental well-being as it adds meaning to life. Learning something new makes you a more interesting person to be around. It improves the quality of your life and also deepens the relationships you have. It can boost your self-esteem and give you a sense of purpose. It activates the release of the feel-good chemical dopamine in the brain and helps you cope with the stress and strain of everyday life while increasing your energy levels and immunity. Spending time on something creative, whether learning to kayak or taking up coding, has threefold benefits. It acts as a distraction from stress. It allows you the headspace to reassess your problems. And it builds up self-esteem and confidence when you meet and overcome your challenges. Learning a new skill can keep your social skills sharp. Let's face it, as we grow older, it is easy to become more socially isolated. However, if you attend classes on social media marketing or do an online course on counseling, for example, you have to interact and communicate with people on a regular basis through group participation, conversations, and discussions. It gets you out of your comfort zone and challenges you to try new things. The modern world is moving at a breakneck speed, and you need to stay on top of your game or get left behind. This is why professional development through study and courses is a must. It makes you relevant even when younger or more qualified people join your profession. It opens doors of opportunity. If you're wondering what to study, do a bit of introspection. What have you always been interested in or passionate about since childhood? Do you have a hobby or a side job? The satisfaction in learning something new and exciting, whether as a hobby or for your career, will definitely bring you joy and satisfaction. Conversation creates connection. The more you talk to someone, the more you bond. The joy of connecting and making new friends is one of life's great rewards. And by connecting with others, you become bigger than yourself. Conversation is the lifeblood of relationships. Without conversation, relationships die. And not just romantic relationships either. Friendships and families need to talk to keep the connection alive. When the conversation is vibrant, the relationship is vibrant. Conversation is necessary for communication. When people don't talk, they invent speculation that isn't there. People jump to assumptions because they aren't on the same page. Even written communication methods tend to lose a lot of their intention and manner by not being done in person. Conversation shares information. Conversation is a handy tool for finding out information. For example, discussing someone's travel experience can give you tips for your own. For couples, it's important to share information and not assume that the other reads minds. It saves conflict in the long run. Conversation sparks ideas and creates synergy. Conversations are the mixing bowls that great ideas emerge from. By discussing an idea with someone, they can help flesh it out. Conversations help you grow. By exposure to a wide range of ideas and experiences, conversation gives us a chance to grow into something beyond ourselves. Conversations force you to articulate. You may have ideas or opinions bouncing around in your head, but by sharing them with others, you are forced to pin your thoughts down. In doing so, you discover what you really think. You discover yourself. Conversations are fun. Conversations can make you laugh, can be fascinating, and can cheer you up. Conversation gives you a sense of value. When someone takes the time to listen to you, they're demonstrating appreciation for you. They may not agree with you in everything, but they value your perspective. Conversations challenge you. Conversations expose you to a variety of opinions. Sometimes a need to defend those opinions will help you to fully realize those opinions or discard them. Conversations affirm you. An encouraging word can affirm others in ways you'll never know. People need others to pick them up when the world is beating them down and remind them of their value. Conversations give you a new perspective. Each one of us is a variety of personality and experience. New perspectives help us appreciate different points of view and see the world in a way we couldn't have on our own. Conversations start messages. When you share a thought with someone, you never know where it will be repeated or passed on. Conversations showcase your personality. Our looks or online image are no match for a conversation in showcasing your personality. Talking to someone is you in 3D, HD, live. Conversations repair relationships. When hurt creeps into a relationship, talking it through puts you on the path to healing. Conversations help you process pain and confusion. When overwhelming thoughts are bouncing around inside your head, conversation is the best way to let them out and make more sense of them. This won't often result in an instant remedy, but combined with time, the pain and confusion becomes easier to manage. Conversation is a source for discovering new things. In a world of ignored advertising, conversation is often the best place to discover things with merit. They may include new movies, activities to try, or tasty foods. Conversation makes you more attractive. Good looks quickly wear thin without personality and chemistry to back them up. Unless you have an obnoxious or vapid personality, conversation helps people to get to know you, and deeper connections create attraction. Ultimately, most of us would rather be with someone who was funny looking but interesting, rather than with someone who was pretty but dull. Conversation inspires and motivates. Talking to someone opens up ideas and encourages you to get cracking, whether it's reigniting a plan that's been dormant for a while, or just a matter of seizing the day. Conversation can be the catalyst. Conversation is where we learn. There are lots of opportunities to learn, but in conversation, We can ask questions and explore things we don't know about. Conversation is a powerful thing.
To stimulate myself mentally,
I read. To stimulate myself mentally, I read and I listen. So I have a list of podcasts and books, a set of books that I'd be on whatever my reading list is at the moment. And I listen to podcasts or TED Talks. But I'm constantly kind of in that place of learning. So to stimulate myself mentally, I learn. And that always has been something that I think it keeps me inspired as well, that I can always be kind of absorbing more and connecting more dots. It really helps me to stay sharp in a way, but for my own inner child. Yeah.
Stimulate myself mentally, I read and listen to 432 hertz or binaural beats. I haven't been as consistent with reading, but it's always been for like study or for screenwriting or something like that I'm doing, or for my herbalist class. But I feel like in a way that's even still mental stimulation, because I'm always learning and growing and things like that. And so yeah, I also take lion's mane, which has helped tremendously in terms of my focus and energy. And so yeah, that's what I do. I read more than anything, and study. Yeah.
The more you read, the healthier you become. Think about it like this. Reading gives muscle to your memory. While the brain isn't actually a muscle, it can still benefit from a good workout. Reading calls your intelligence to action. Rather than watching a video or listening to an audio track, notice how much you must concentrate while reading. Reading gives you a unique pause button for comprehension and insight, says Marianne Wolfe, Director of the Center for Reading and Language Research at Tufts University. Reading essentially forces us to concentrate and imagine, where otherwise we are just absorbing the information in pictures or sounds coming at us. It is simply good for your brain. Having that ability to pause, reflect, absorb, imagine, and process sharpens intelligence by challenging the entire neural circuit from reading. Nutritionally, we can even consider the idea that books are like vitamins for the brain. Reading reduces stress. Think about when you read. You are able to tune out the world and tune into the words in front of you. Your mind or brain is actively engaging in something that requires your full attention. The result? You are not thinking about outside stressors when your nose is in a book. In other words, it distracts you. According to a University of Sussex study, a simple 6 minutes a day has shown to reduce stress by a huge 68%. But how does it really reduce stress? Here's where it gets impressive. It's that distraction, having your mind concentrate on reading, that eases the tension in your muscles and the heart and circulatory system. People who experience emotional stress, rushing around all the time with a clenched jaw, perhaps experiencing frustration and anger more often than not, are prone to developing heart disease. All that chronic emotional stress deposits loads of adrenaline unnecessarily into the bloodstream. Over time, this dumping weakens the very vital system that is our lifeline to basic nutrient distribution. Losing yourself in a book is the ultimate relaxation, especially in these times of uncertainty when we are all craving some escapism, says cognitive neurobiologist Dr. David Lewis. Reading can help prevent brain aging and Alzheimer's disease. Yes, a mentally stimulating hobby like reading may help prevent Alzheimer's disease and memory problems. This research found that elderly people who regularly undertake intellectual activities, such as reading, are 2.5 times less likely to get this debilitating disease. Challenging the brain to learn new things through reading can help your informational processing stay in better shape. It's thought that it might even reshape brain circuitry by helping the brain continue to be more adaptable with regard to mental functions as one ages. Reading fiction boosts your social skills. That simulation of social experience involved in a good novel might engage the same social cognitive processes in the real world. What a great way to hone in on improving your relationship with others in social situations. Scientists investigating introversion proved this very hypothesis in an experimental study. It's remarkable how that exposure to fiction might be able to stimulate our empathetic ability through direct immersion into a character in a book. Sort of like being able to relate to someone better in the real world because you can liken a circumstance or scene or even a character to one you've previously engaged in a novel you read. Deep reading causes for you to engage at a deeper level than, say, surfing the net for information. Decoding words on a site or gathering tidbits of knowledge rather quickly, as you do when surfing the internet, will not produce the same experiences as deep reading. The sensory immersion that unfolds in deep reading is a great, robust activity for the brain.
To stimulate myself mentally, I write.
People have long claimed that expressive writing, whether it be essays, memoirs, or stories, has helped them feel better. Studies have demonstrated improvements in overall well-being for those who write out their sorrows and difficult experiences. Underlying mechanisms are hard to pinpoint, though. It's a challenge for empirical research to answer questions like, why, or exactly how. Mostly researchers can count how often something happens and then ask for subjective responses to questions that relate to consciousness. From research conducted on famous, successful writers, and from others' experiences of writing non-professionally, it is suggested that a lot of the benefits come from writing in a flow state. The flow state takes you out of yourself and allows you to feel part of something larger. Writing is an excellent activity for entering a flow state. You get fully engaged while doing it. You're not thinking about rewards or an audience. Time seems to shift in importance or even stop. And you forget your everyday self in the interest of this larger-than-life thing you're crafting. Depression and anxiety tend to cause rumination, having the same dreary thoughts over and over. But when you begin writing things down, whether it's directly about your life, as in a diary, or an attempt at an essay or story, or even a novel, you get deeply involved in that task and tend to rise above the ordinary frustrations of your day. By forming a coherent narrative out of the chaotic elements of your personal history, reported psychologists James Pennicker and Janet D. Segal, the mind doesn't have to work as hard to bring structure and meaning to it. In one of their studies, experimental and control groups of students were asked to write about an assigned topic for 4 consecutive days for 15 minutes each day. Those who had written about emotional topics had far fewer doctor's visits during the rest of the school year. Having a narrative is similar to completing a job, allowing one to essentially forget the event, Pennebaker concluded. Writing is a medicine for your mind. Whenever you feel mentally and emotionally exhausted, writing down the things that bother you will help you structure your thoughts and bring peace to your mind. Many therapists recommend inventing time to write every day to improve your mental well-being. Dr. Mark Rowe, MD, who is also an expert in the lifestyle medicine field, says that keeping a journal and writing in it every day is one of the habits of successful people. According to Dr. Rowe, successful people use journaling in 3 ways: to express gratitude and appreciation, both for successes and for failures; to examine emotional toxicity, diving into difficult emotions and what causes them; and to explore future goals and possible obstacles you may face, including feelings and emotions that may prevent you from achieving them. Last year, Cambridge University Press posted interesting research, which included a study of a group of people who were asked to engage in expressive writing for 15 to 20 minutes a day without downplaying their emotions. The research found that people who weren't shy about expressing the emotions they experienced while writing had better physical and mental health indexes than those who wrote on neutral topics. This research shows not only how writing just for 20 minutes a day can help your mental health, but how well it teaches you to be in the moment and acknowledge your feelings. This is called a mindfulness approach and is aimed at helping people learn how to pause and free their mind by focusing on things that are going on at a particular moment. The benefit of writing and mindfulness is that they help you concentrate on one thing and completely free your mind from other stuff that bothers you and overcrowds your mind. Practicing them every day will help you understand your actions and your behaviors better, but will also help relieve your anxiety. Unacknowledged emotions can lead to depression. However, writing can help you manage depression, training your emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence can be learned, and writing is one of the possible tools to exercise it. It can be used in the same way as mindfulness. When you describe a particular event or a thing that you observe at the moment, replacing the old negative emotion with something different. How often do you feel annoyed, although there's no obvious reason for this emotion? You experience this emotion on a daily basis when you're on your commute or standing in line to get a salad for lunch. This emotion gets so ingrained in your mind that you can no longer see a reason behind it. Letting yourself pause for a second, acknowledging this emotion, and writing it down, along with all possible reasons that may have caused it, will help you improve your emotional intelligence and be aware the next time a certain situation might cause anxiety or simply annoy you. Sometimes thoughts, feelings, and emotions overfill our minds, creating real traffic jams and bringing anxiety. What your mind needs at this point is a tool, like a traffic light, to bring some consistency and structure to your thoughts and emotions. Other times, you need a different kind of tool to completely remove some dysfunctional thoughts from your head so they don't bother you anymore. Psychologist Diane Barth, LCSW, says that keeping a journal is a very good tool to help you do a real spring cleaning in your mind. The trick is not to be afraid to confront yourself while writing and acknowledge when you're judging yourself or feeling dissatisfied with your actions. This will help you learn how to let go of situations that bother you and free your mind from distracting thoughts.